Students, have you ever heard of the 4 Cs? These are 4 different skill sets that are kind of widely known as being transferable to many different jobs or occupations. So if you can be good at doing some of these 4 skill sets, you can apply those skills to different occupations you might be interested in. So if you change your mind on what your career interests are, or if you change jobs along your career path, these 4 sets of skills can move along with you. So we're going to introduce you to the 4 Cs, and I'm going to ask each panelist to tell us a little bit about how they use these 4 Cs in their current jobs that they have now. So Sara, I'm going to start with you. The first C we're going to talk about is communication. So what communication skills do you use as a school counselor?
Okay, well, I feel like I'm communicating all of the time. I'm really glad I got this question because communication is a huge part of what I do every day. So I meet with students and I meet with parents and their families. I meet with other teachers and staff in my school. And I meet with community partners a lot of the time, other therapists and clinicians in the community, or just other folks in the community. And so I'm needing to communicate a lot of the time. And so that can look like verbal communication. So when I'm meeting with students, we often sit face to face and we talk things out. Or when I'm meeting with a parent or talking on the phone or on a Zoom. But there's also a lot of written communication, a lot of emails that happen between me and staff or myself and students. And also, see, in terms of, I think, formality, I think there's definitely a lot of informal communication that happens when I'm walking through the halls and I'm talking with students, or I actually teach a class too. And so when I'm in the classroom, there's a lot of informal communication. I'm talking to kids all the time and to people in our building. And there's also formal communication when I need to write a letter to the community or to staff members or to parents, sort of explaining what we're doing or what a program is. Then that is when I would use more formal communication in my letter writing. But I think it's a part of everything that I do, and I've definitely gotten better over it at over the years. And I think there's always room to grow. Sometimes I think I have communicated something clearly, and then someone asks me a question, and I'm like, oh, it was so clear in my brain, but I wasn't able to get it out the way I intended it to go. So I think it's a skill that I'm always refining and learning more. But it's being able to communicate kind of what's on your mind, and a big part of my job, or a huge part of my job, is helping students and helping them be successful in school and in life. And so I often need to be able to communicate with others and advocate for students and talk to others about what students need and want. So communication is definitely a huge piece of what I do as a school counselor.
Thanks so much, Sara. So we're going to go into the second C, collaboration. And Halley, if you want to unmute, I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about when collaboration skills are helpful to you as a vehicle maintenance manager at Killington.
So collaboration is incredibly important, and collaboration is another term for working together. So a lot of times, all of the mechanics, when there's a machine that's down, whether that be a truck or a snowcat or a four-wheeler, we're all working together to try and figure out what the issue is. Another reason why we work together is to make sure everybody's safe, because we do a lot of heavy lifting and working in small, tight areas where it's always nice to have an extra set of hands and eyes looking at you to make sure you're being safe. And another huge thing is it's great for coming up with new ways to do things and complete tasks.
Great. Thanks, Halley. Okay, the third C we have is creativity. Stephane, if you could respond to this question, where do you use creativity skills as a software engineer?
Yeah, creativity is used a lot in our field because our job, usually people just talk to us face to face. Somebody will come to you, is like, I want my system to do this and that. I want the graphics to look like this. I want this button to be here. So people are talking to you verbally, and then you need to write that down and then translate that into like a design. So you're using your creative mind. Like if I was in this person's shoe, what would I be imagining? Draw that out, and then we start programming it, doing it in our graphics, and then we show them. Usually the first time they're like, that's not what I said. So it's a back and forth. Do you want it like this? Do you want it like that? What color do you want this? What do you want this to do? So you just have to be creative, and everybody's different. So one customer might want something like this, but then the other one wants a complete opposite, but they're sort of using the same word to describe it. So the other thing is English is a very vague language, so people can use the same word to like mean two different things. So you have to be very careful and just be creative and be patient and try to put yourself on other people's shoes and just imagine and then put it down to paper, show it to them, rinse and repeat, and yeah.
Great, Stephane. Thank you. And our last C in the 4 C's is critical thinking skills. These are, I'm just going to take a second here to describe. Critical thinking is when you take in information by reading, watching, observing, listening, you analyze it and you apply it somehow in the real world. So Trooper Pearson, how do critical thinking skills help you as a state trooper?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kathy. So in my job, we're always dealing with people. So again, I'm going to ask the same question as earlier. How many of you like talking to other people? Not as many hands as before. Uh-oh. Is it too early in the morning? I think we like talking to people. I've seen some of you talk to your friends. So in my job, we talk to people all the time. And a lot of what I do is having to listen to what's happened. So I'll ask a lot of questions to folks and they'll tell me, hey, this person did X, Y, or Z, or I saw this happen with this other person or this car. And so my job is to, one, be a really good listener. How many of you, if I asked your teachers, would say that you're a good listener? No? No hands? Teachers give instructions and everyone's talking the other way. So part of my job is being a good listener. And so when we're a good listener and when I'm a good listener, I'm able to end up applying what I've heard and I'm able to think through what I've been told and then take action. So again, how many of you have tried to jump out or scare a friend? Try to get a good laugh. Yeah, we've all done that, right? Well, sometimes when you're doing that, you have to hide and you have to think through where you think your friend's going to be in order for you to scare them. Well, obviously in my job, I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to help people, but I have to be thinking like that. Where would this person be going? What would they be doing? What did the last person I talked to tell me? And I need to process what they've thought, what they've said. And so a lot of my job, like what you've heard from the other panelists, is not just listening or communicating, but it's thinking through what information we've been given and then applying it so that we can help solve a crime or help somebody who needs help. So there's kind of a bunch of different avenues for how that's applicational in my job. But those are some things that I would encourage you to think through if you have any interest in becoming a police officer.
Great. Thank you so much. And Trooper Pearson, you can keep yourself unmiked. I'm going to start with you for the next question. Actually, you can keep yourself unmiked, but I have a question for the students. So these 4 C's, I know you've heard of probably most of them before: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. How many of you, can you raise your hand if you think you have some of these skills already? You're already good at some of the things you just heard about. Okay, I'm looking. Oh, good. I'm seeing most hands up. All of your hands really should be up, because when you are in middle school, you are already learning communication skills, collaboration. I know you've done teamwork and group projects in school. You might have been in a sport or in drama or something where you've done teamwork. And creativity, you're using that all the time. Some of you are artists, or you perform, or you do different things, and you're learning how to do things creatively that could be applied in a job. And critical thinking, what Trooper Pearson just talked to us about, you are constantly taking in information and making decisions of what to do with that information. So think about those 4 C's and how you can be building them now, because you're going to be using them when you work someday. So remember that.